mysteries of cleanliness. The Prophet said religion is founded on cleanliness. He said cleanliness is the key to prayer. God said therein there are men who love purity and God loves the pure. 9:109. The Prophet said cleanliness is one half of belief. God said God desires to make you clean and to complete His favors on you. 5:7. Those who possess insight understand that these sayings that the most important thing is the purification of the heart. If the tradition cleanliness is half of faith is limited only to the external cleanliness of physical organs by water and not also of the purification of the heart, which may entertain evil designs and thoughts, its meaning then will be distant and it is impossible. Purity has got 4 stages. Number 1, the first stage is the purification of the external organs from excrements and filth. Number 2, the second stage is the purification of the bodily organs from sins and faults. Number 3, the third stage is the purification of the heart from evil traits and evil vices. Number 4, the fourth stage is the purification of the inner self from everything except God. This is the stage of the prophets and the saints. Every item of cleanliness is half of action because the objective of the actions is the glorification and the greatness of God. In reality, God's knowledge is not attained unless the heart is purified of all things except for God. For this reason God said, "Say God, then leave them to play in the useless fox." 6:91. There can be no two things in mind at the same time, and God also has not created two minds in the same man. The objective of the actions is to adorn the mind with praiseworthy qualities and religious firm faith. It is well known that the mind will not be adorned with those qualities till the blameworthy evils and false faith reign in it. To purify the mind from these evil comprises half of its actions, and the first half is prerequisite for the second half. In this sense, purity is said to be half of belief. So, to purify the bodily limbs from prohibited things is the first half, and to strengthen it with religious acts is the second half. These are the stages of belief, and every stage has got its rank. Nobody will attain a higher stage unless he goes through the lower one. He cannot attain real purity of the heart till he purifies it from blameworthy vices and adorns it with praiseworthy qualities. He can't purify the heart till he purifies his organs from prohibited things and makes it firm with religious acts. The more honorable is the objective, the more difficult is the attainment of that objective. The longer is the road that leads to it, the greater are the obstacles. Don't think that this can be attained with ease and without efforts. He who is blind of these stages of purity will not understand the above 4 mentioned stages. He will understand the lowest stage of cleanliness. It is like the outer husk of a crop or the skull in relation to the brain. He understands that the outer cleanliness is the desired objective and makes exaggeration in it and spends so much time and wealth in cleaning it, in cleanliness of the cloth of the body and the use of water, and thinks that noble purity comprises these outward and external cleanliness. The early Muslims concentrated their entire attention and energies on the purification of the heart and were lenient in their outward cleanliness. Even Hazrat Omar, being placed in a high position, made ablution with water from a jar which belonged to a Christian woman. These companions were accustomed not to wash their hands after eating from the remains of fat and food, but to wipe them against the arches of their feet, and regarded the use of soap as an innovation. They used to say prayer, kneeling and prostrating directly on the ground in the mosque, and walked barefoot on the roads. They used to use pebbles after the call of nature. Abu Huraira and some inmates of Ahl Sufa said, "We ate meals, and when the prayer time came, we wiped our fingers against the pebbles and proceeded to say prayers." Hazrat Umar said, "We did not know the use of soap at the time of the Prophet, and the hollows of our feet were our towels. It is said that the first 4 innovations after the Prophet were the use of sieves, soaps, tables, and eating to satisfaction. The efforts of the companions were towards the purification of the heart to the extent that someone amongst them said, 'It is better to say prayers with shoes than without shoes, because the Prophet looked at his shoes with uncleanliness at the advent of Jibreel, and the companions also took off their shoes. He told them, Where have you taken off your shoes?' One of them, named Nakhi, said, 'Perhaps someone in need may pass by and take these shoes.' In fact, they walked barefooted, sat on mud and sand, prayed directly on floors of the mosque. They used to eat bread of coarse wheat, which the animals would eat, and trod with their feet, and sometimes polluted it with their urine. They made no efforts to avoid small impurities. These things have now changed. People termed cleanliness for ironed cloth and say that it is the foundation of religion. One group spends most of their time in beautifying their bodies just like a new bride, but their minds are full of evil thoughts, pride, self-conceit, ignorance, show, and hypocrisy. He who cleanses with stones after calls of nature, walks barefooted in mud, prays in the mosque on the floor, and walks on the rugs without leather of shoes, or makes ablution with water belonging to an old woman, is attacked furiously and is termed as impure. The following are the 3 matters of external purity. Number 1, purification from impurities. Number 2, purification of the body from excrements. Number 3, purification from bodily growths such as nails, cutting of hair, circumcision, removing of the hairs of the pubes, and the like. Jazakallah khair. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.